You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience.
So, next topic is the California Association of Realtors February Housing Report that just recently came out. And it looks like mortgage rates are low, which we're now talking about in the low fours. We saw them peak in close to the middle fives toward the end of 2018.
Right.
They did drop afterwards, and we've seen a bit of a bump in activity of buyers coming back into the market with the lower rates. But it's still a little bit funky time right now because we're still down 9% sales year over year from February 2019 to February 2018.
Well, like, for example, one of the articles that we were reviewing as part of this topic coined the phrase that it's a totally random market, referring to the price points. And that really is what we're seeing. There are some properties that still get multiple offers and other ones that just don't and may sit on the market for a while. It's not the big buying frenzy. And as we've talked about in prior videos, what we believe is that we are heading towards a small recession, probably that's going to last 18 to 24 months at the most. In my opinion, nothing really major. And it's just one of these things that seems to always repeat itself over these cyclical periods of 6 to 7 years, especially in California, where the market goes up and then it hits a plateau and then it comes down. It's still hard to peg exactly the reason why in this case. In prior markets, it was directly tied to the job market or other issues such as the banking crisis. But in this case, jobs are still relatively strong. The economy is still relatively moving quickly. Rates are still really low, even when they went up to or peaked at 5.125. I mean, I remember when they were 9.5 or 10, and we were happy when they dropped to 7.5. Now, granted, people have gotten really accustomed to much lower rates, and so it's all perception and that herd mentality when the rate bumps up and things slow down.
Well, I also think 2019 is going to be a very odd year with the randomness that we read in the article. And that's really what we're experiencing, that some properties that would have sold with multiple offers a year ago are now sitting on the market with maybe no offers and lucky to get one or two offers 30, 60 days down the road. But then there's some properties you list on the market that fly off and, sell within a couple of days. Well, and we're in that transition period, I think, where people, with what happened toward the end of 2018, rates going up, you have a lot of negative news with a lot of big companies preparing for a 2020 recession, doing layoffs. That creates some kind of uncertainty in the market with the news. And I think you saw a lot of people sit back and kind of wait around to see what would happen. Then you had a lot of sellers that decided, hey, now's the time to sell because look at all this bad negative news. And then I think now people are realizing, oh, now that rates are low again, let me jump back into the market. And you're starting to see even inventory drop a bit.
Well, these slower markets or these recessionary periods, I personally, as a real estate agent, love them because a lot of times when you're an agent in a really, really, a fast market, you might be writing multiple offers. It takes multiple offers just to get accepted. In this market, first offer I write, I'll probably get accepted. And in many cases, agents will be calling me back. Hey, you showed my apartment complex. Are you going to bring me an offer? In fact, a couple of the properties we reviewed, they sat on the market for a while. From the multifamily unit side, investors want a higher return, so they're buying at a 6 cap as opposed to a 5, right? And so I have experience because of the slowdown that a lot of my clients can get into a contract a lot easier. But then, for example, there was a property, a 4-unit building that we reviewed, I think it was last episode, and I was checking in with that agent. He had 9 offers within the first 2 days, and it was a good property. It didn't have rent control. It was in San Pablo, and it was a 4-unit building. So it's got this randomness, but it's a randomness and it's a slowness that I personally like, and I tend to do a lot more deals in this market.
If you're a buyer or buyer's agent, this is the ideal market to jump in. You'll be surprised how some sellers will put a price out there in asking price, they get a low ball offer, and you'll have a certain percentage of buyers or sellers now that will take that low ball offer.
They will respond and they will accept it. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, it comes down to the unsurety. We still hear of a lot of experts, a lot of professionals talk about a 2020 recession coming up, and you're seeing a lot of these very big corporations doing layoffs and basically trimming the fat off expenses in order to prepare for the 2020 recession that many experts are predicting will happen. And so with that, I think you start seeing a lot of sellers, the mentality change to where they want to basically accept an offer and take whatever they can get now before the market gets worse. So for a buyer and buyer's agent, I think now's the ideal time to jump in.